It's time to do the show. I gotta do the show. Don't you know? Time to do my show. Welcome back. Thank you for your patience. I have not been able to do anything YouTube related for the last week because I've been back at work full time, and it's been a bit of a stressful week for reasons I can't get into yet. But perhaps I'll do a podcast episode with Sean at some point because we've had a bit of a tough time. But this video is going to be a follow-up to the flat renovation video that I made a couple of weeks back. So in the last video, I decided that I would take a look at my lifetime ISA and then discuss the reasons why I'm switching from using it primarily as a retirement account and now looking at it more as a home buying account for when Sean and I buy our first home. It just so happens that the first home we want to buy is the flat that we live in, but it's going to need some renovations. Since the last video, we have spoken to the architect. He came over. It was the first time anyone had been in the house since the beginning of lockdown, so I class him as a very dear friend of mine now. We showed him around, showed him what we've currently got, explained what we want. He took a load of measurements.
So is that the main idea, to push this forward, isn't it? To align.
What we were hoping is to extend the back out. Is he alright? Are you alright with it?
Yeah, fine. I'm around dogs all the time.
Okay. So to extend all of the back of this building out to be in line with that one.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
Yeah. To tie in both of those roofs. Essentially what we want in the future is all of the downstairs to be business and all of the upstairs to be residence.
Okay.
But at the moment next door is a separate property.
Yes.
So I don't know how we'll go about that, but I imagine it's solicitors and things like that.
Yeah,
split
that'll
the
come
deeds.
under that part. So the idea would be like a flat roof idea, is it?
Essentially this height ceiling from front to back.
Right, okay.
You know?
Yeah, to get rid of all of these anomaly things.
We knock our heads on those an awful lot.
Oh yeah, I remember. Like a New York style thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's the last one, yeah.
I mean, they're be a lot bigger then.
Yeah, it really opened the space up then. Yeah, you'd have to get rid of the stairs. You'd probably have to put in wall hangers either side, and then you'd have like a timber suspended floor going across. As long as it's braced correctly, you can put loads of weight on it.
So we come straight in from outside into the living room here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, ideally you'd want to keep this straight so this bathroom would get bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the door to the
Door would be
bedroom
there. That could probably go depending on the shape.
Like this is the bit that doesn't need to happen in this room.
Yeah.
Basically only what needs to be done is anything from the
The
living
roof,
room.
yeah.
So if you could do like phase 1 and phase 2.
Can you do it like that, or is
Yeah, you can do it like that. It makes it a bit more difficult because then you've got to think where you're going to start with the new roof connected to the old one. Right. And then the old one stays. So like let's say this stays.
Yeah.
And you've got to do a connection to the new one, and then in time then you get rid of this and connect it and you're going to keep going.
Right.
So you just have to segment it. It's not impossible, but it might affect how the new roof is shaped because it has to have some kind of suitable connection to this. So yeah, ideally, if it can all be done in one, do it in one, because then you can have whatever kind of roof you like.
Because he knows he's not allowed in here.
Okay, is that everything?
And it really got us excited about what we could potentially achieve with the money we've got available and the space we've got available, providing that we can get the plans passed and everything goes in our favour.
I'll get straight onto that then, and then whenever I come up with ideas or layouts, I'll send those over to you for PDFs, and then you can just comment on them, draw all over them, send them back to me if you want things changed or anything, and we can just go along like that then.
At the moment, we just want the plans. We don't want to go ahead with the application yet.
Yep, just plans.
Okay?
Yep,
we
no
just
problem.
want to see what it might look like. And then I think our plan is to speak to builders to get a rough ballpark figure.
Yep, fair enough.
Because if we can't afford it, it will involve moving out and buying somewhere.
Yep, no
I don't
problem.
want to do that. Do you mind keeping us updated with the price and the cost of it all as well? Just
Yeah, no problem. My usual is £30 an hour.
Yeah.
Is there a certain number where I hit and you want me to stop?
Have you got like an average cost?
The average usually comes to about 300.
That's fine.
And that was just about 10 hours work to,
That's fine. Yeah.
you know, do all the modelling and make sure it works and goes together.
That's
So,
perfectly
do you want
fine.
me to go to 10 hours then stop, or?
If you got
I'll let you know when I
let us
hit
know. Yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
I didn't want to spend like 10 grand without.
Oh
knowing.
God, no, don't worry about
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect.
that. Okay,
Thanks very
fantastic.
much. So the architect went away and we didn't hear from him for a little while, and we were getting a little bit not frustrated, not anxious, because we knew it would take time, but we were excited to see what he would come up with. When we talked about it, we realised that the project would involve a whole new roof, not too dissimilar from what we've got at the moment, but with a few gaps filled in and a little bit of brickwork built up in certain places. So that's what we're anticipating is going to take the most of the money. So we were really keen to see what he would come up with. Over the weekend now, he got back to us with some initial plans. Outright, Sean and I didn't like what he'd come back with. It seemed that when we were discussing things, maybe we'd had a miscommunication and he didn't take into account some of the major features that we wanted. Seeing as this is the first time we've dealt with architects and things like that, we were a little bit put off. But if you're going through a similar process, if you are dealing with architects and this is your first time doing it, what we learned is don't get disheartened. All it took for him to adjust the plans that he'd drawn to actually take into account everything we want was a polite email where we said, thank you for getting back to us. We really like the fact that you've shown us what space we've got available. You didn't take into account these little things. So it was very polite. We weren't mad or anything like that. I'm not the type to get mad. I just like to get to the bottom of things. So after an email reply back to the architect, he got back to us then pretty much the next day with updated plans, which we were much, much happier with. Now, the interesting thing is we had an idea of what we wanted before we got the architect round. Obviously, we've sort of been building this dream home vision in our minds for the last however long. So we'd sketched a few things out and we'd had that in place, but the plans that he gave us were actually completely different from what we had envisioned. And initially, we didn't like it, but I think that was because we were still holding on to our idea of what we wanted. And then as we went throughout the day and we discussed things and we looked at the plans the architect had got back to us with, we realized actually his ideas might be much, much better. They will allow us to utilize much more of the space that we've got available. If somehow, I don't know how, he managed to fit a small third bedroom into what is currently a hallway. It's remarkable. So we've sort of come around to his ideas now and we're excited to give him a few little notes because we've got a few things that we'd like to change. But yeah, the process so far of dealing with the architect has been great. It got us really excited to do the project. It highlighted some areas that maybe we hadn't considered, and it was also an exercise in being forthright and getting what you want. So if you're dealing with architects and builders and at some stage they do something that you don't like, the best idea is to reach out at the beginning of that process, be forthright, don't be shy, explain what you want, and you'll likely get a resolution, fairly quickly. It took us a day. We were a lot happier with what he did the second day than the first day. And that's his job, I'm sure he wasn't upset that we came back with a few notes. At the end of the day, he's working for us as the home buyers and the home builders and the renovators. So it's his job to make sure that we're happy with everything. But obviously his input is very valuable as he understands the way spaces work a bit better than we do, and he understands the way that construction needs to be designed. So should we take a little look at the plans? This here is our current layout of the flat that we live in. We've got the master bedroom at the very top, and then we've got this awkward little hallway that comes down here with the bathroom off the side. And this here is just dead space, which is crawl space that we can't do anything with at the moment. Coming through then, we come into another piece of dead space, which we've just got a bookshelf in at the moment, and that's at the top of the stairs. We are a first floor flat above a shop unit, so there's nobody living below us, nobody living above us, but we do need to get to the flat by coming up a staircase. So up the staircase into the lobby, down into the living room, which also has an open plan kitchen, and that is the entirety of our space at the moment. This on the bottom left here is an adjacent building which is also owned by my family, but at the moment is used for something else, and there is no internal doorway between these two spaces. So the plan is to combine what we've currently got with the top floor of the adjacent premises, and this is what the architect came back with after he fully realized what we were talking about. So again, at the top here, master bedroom, he's put a dormer in. Looks great. Looks like it's a heck of a lot more space. A heck of a lot. Looks like it's an awful bigger. The space is awfully bigger. So that's great. Coming down then, he's flipped the hallway from the left-hand side of the building originally to the right-hand side of the building. In here, which is the dead space from the original, he's managed to fit a bathroom and a smaller bedroom / office, which is likely where I'll be setting up my studio to record, edit, do all my photography and videography and all that sort of stuff. Down into a much bigger living room, which is extended out the bottom to match this edge of this building, and a sort of open plan kitchen as well with a little breakfast bar to differentiate the space, with enough room for a dining table, something that Sean's particularly interested in, and then a doorway through to another bedroom with an ensuite bathroom and quite a large space which used to be the old staircase of this building to do what we want with. You could fit a gym in there, you could fit a very small gym as long as you only really want to use resistance bands and a treadmill. We could do whatever we want with it. It could just be Christmas decorations forever, which it likely will be. Before I go, should we have a little look at the current state of the Lifetime ISA, because people enjoy that sort of thing. My current contributions are £3,911.78. Current earnings are £1,152.13. £949.84 of that is the government Lifetime ISA bonus. So that's free money essentially, which is always good. £259.16 are investment gains. 0 from Moneybox Plus rewards because I don't currently use that service. And I've paid £56.87 for the privilege of having this account and having my money invested in the mutual funds. The current value is £5,063.91. Current earnings performance is 29.45%, which is 4.45% above the 25% that the government gives me on top of my contributions. So it seems like the stock market's doing a lot better than it was at the beginning of the COVID lockdown. That'll do, I think, that'll do. Thank you for watching. I hope that you got something from this video. You can find my website at www.ollyrosaphoto.com. You can follow me on Instagram at ollyrosaphoto, Twitter at ollyrossa, and I also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/ollyrossa. I'm not asking you to subscribe to that. The one and only tier that I've got on Patreon is entitled Your Money Would Be Better Off in a Savings Account, which is true, but now that making these videos is starting to take a lot more time, effort, and money with the setup that I've got, I figure if you get something out of those and you would like to support this channel, you can do so at Patreon. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll speak to you next time.